The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the producers and/or the persons appearing on the program and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of FRC Media, Bristol Community College, or the City of Fall River.
Spindle City Straight Talk. You can tell it's been a tough day already. Spindle City Straight Talk. I'm Chip.
And I'm CJ.
Yeah. Okay. Public service announcement. If you're looking for a Pfizer vaccine, don't call CVS in Fall River or Walgreens. No Pfizer boosters are available. I think Rite Aid is the only one that still has Pfizer right now.
But remember, you do have a choice if you want to get a booster that is Moderna or J&J. And as a matter of fact, they say there are studies that show that if you get a booster from a different vaccine, you get a better return on the immunity. I don't know how accurate that is. I mean, mine was Pfizer, so.
Yeah, I don't know. Look, they've given you so much misinformation about this whole scenario. Now there's a big thing on, actually this morning, I saw something, there were 9 blood clot incidents.
That's with the J&J vaccine.
With the J&J, and now they're making a big deal. That's why they're suppressing all the data for 75 years. They don't want you to know. And, the thing is, it's ironic that, they're so worried about making money off this vaccine. They're trying to make it like it's the panacea. Look, everybody knows that vaccines aren't perfect. Every pill you ever buy, you get a big giant list of side effects. So, but the problem is, I think with these vaccines, they want you to think that they're perfect, so you'll take them because they're having so much difficulty with people taking these vaccines. And it's the irony is it's a catch-22 because people really are. They're put off about taking the vaccines because there's so much contradictory information. That's the problem. Look, if you know that there might be side effects, obviously, just say there might be side effects. This is an experiment. But that's the problem. They tell people there's nothing, and then they hear from another source there's been blood clots, and people get actually more vaccine hesitant. Because, look, you pick up a pill, any pill you go to the pharmacy to, you get the pill, and it says side effects.
Right.
There's not a drug in the world without a side effect.
And all of them say stupor, coma, death.
Yeah, those are the ones I like the best. The advertiser, they say, get rid of your psoriasis, but one of the side effects may be heart attacks, cancer, and death.
Right.
It's like, well, I think I'll go with the psoriasis.
Yeah, that used to be a joke when I was in nursing school. They'd say, what's one of the side effects of whatever drug? And we'd go, stupor, coma, death. We'd always get it right.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like you said at nursing school. I remember when my son, when he took pharmacology, when he went into class, he told me, he said, the professor said, okay, he said, this is pharmacology, and he said, anybody that can give me a drug that doesn't have a side effect can leave the class right now and give me an A, because no such drug exists. Mm-hmm. So, but that's just the reality.
Right.
The reality is they all have side effects,
that's
obviously. Right. But this is just nuts. But let's get down to the stuff. Shooting galleries in Fall River. People resigning from their positions. This is a big Friday.
It's a busy Friday, that's for sure. And remember the insurrection over at White's of Westport.
Oh, that's right. We had an insurrection at White's by anti-vaxxers.
Yes. So it's been a busy week so far. It is. Actually, portion of the week because this started from Wednesday on. So
I know.
A busy 2 days.
None of this stuff was here for the Wednesday show.
Exactly.
But it's just. The thing at White's is just, I just don't see that.
Yeah.
Destroying property and stuff like that. You want to demonstrate, look, I don't care. I've demonstrated before, and you have a difference of opinion. You can argue, but you don't cause, this property damage. And they talked about, I guess, Notre Dame Cemetery. I saw that too. They tipped over 4 gravestones and stuff like that. There's just no place in a civil society for stuff like that.
That's the problem. Our society is not as civil as it used to be.
That's right.
So what happened at White's was they had the Chamber of Commerce was giving away a Man of the Year award or something to Carl Sowiczko. Our TV station here was their videotaping, and according to our station manager, they never breached the room. They made a lot of noise outside the room. They created the damage outside the room, but they never breached the room. But meanwhile, the state police got the governor out of there. And according, again, to our station manager, all of that took place at the end, towards the end of the event. I mean, Carl Sowiczko does a lot for the city. He volunteers a lot. He does a lot of man hours. Like him, don't like him, whatever the case may be, he was being recognized for his work. Kind of selfish to destroy his event just because the governor was there. But, you know, you got, like you said, you got to take it for the way you get it. And they're anti-vaxxers, and that's just the way they are.
Yeah, but as you said, but then you cross the line. Look,
Right.
I got no problem. You know, I mean, obviously, we picketed mayors when they appeared at functions. I remember when the mayor was going to the Fall River Country Club, and we were in contract disputes, and there were more than one union, and the governor was coming down, and the mayor was there, but there was pickets, but they were just peaceful people. We just stood there in a line and let them drive through with signs saying, you know, you're an idiot and stuff like that. But you don't break in, you don't break things up, and it came. I don't think that there would have been any problem if, you know, you're going to demonstrate the governor. People go by, the signage is there, they know who they're protesting, and you got a right to do that in America. You know, you have a right to a different opinion. I don't care about if people disagree, but disagree without being disagree. But this property damage, and then you got, it's like everything is happening now. Look. You got people now thinking they have an absolute right to go and smash and grab in stores because it's reparations. I mean, they just put a label on it to try to make it okay, but now it's backfiring. We look at all over the country. You've even had London Breed in San Francisco after her and Nancy Pelosi turning that place into a outdoor toilet. San Francisco, and I know you were in San Francisco. Yep. I've been to San Francisco. Beautiful city.
Not anymore.
Yeah, not anymore. Yeah, it's like I said, it's like a giant outdoor toilet.
Yeah.
So, but now they've even had it. But you know why? Because when they were cleaning out the Walgreens and the CVS's and the smaller stores, they didn't care. When they start attacking their stores, the Fendi and I don't know all the fancy names. Forgive me. I don't buy all that fancy stuff. Gucci and all the other stuff. When they started attacking the stores that Nancy and London Breed frequent, all of a sudden we can't take this anymore, and we're going to do this. But they put in these DAs who don't prosecute people. It was just somebody, I think, in L.A., a juvenile stabbed another juvenile to death, and they gave him probation and community service. He killed somebody. And I mean, the society's upside down, but it's beginning to turn the other way because people are sick and tired, frankly, of the violence, and that'll segue us into violence in Fall River again.
People are sick and tired of being sick and tired.
That's right, exactly.
But back to whites for a second before we segue. According to sources, the group that was the protesting, was demonstrating, demolishing property, supposedly had rented a room next door to this event from whites. And they had to provide a list of people who were going to attend so as to not confuse where people were going. The DA was there. The state police was there. There were a lot of people there. The sheriff was there. The police chief. I mean, there were a lot of high-ranking legal officials. And if that is true, if they did have a registration list, guess what?
Yeah.
Easy peasy arrest.
They don't have to put Sherlock. They don't have to put Sherlock Holmes on this case to find out who they were. So
exactly, and again, it's a shame because Weiss is a beautiful place. LaFrance and the LaFrance family is very, very charitable. They give a lot away to different charities and to people. So destroying such a place just wasn't cool.
And it's been there. It's been there for. It's an institution in the area.
Yeah.
I mean, Richie's actually a good friend of mine. I played ball with him. You know, and he was a pretty good baseball player. Played with him, and I've known him for years. The place has always been as I said, it's an institution. It's just uncalled for. It's just a commentary on the lack of consideration. We can't disagree even politically without being. I mean, you see the Democrats that are supposedly they care so much about people, but if you disagree with them, they want all Trump supporters thrown in jail, murdered. It's okay to shoot conservatives and things. That's just, you know, we've crossed the line. We've got far too many of these radicals. You know, this country was created to be able to have differences of opinion. You know, I mean, obviously one of the greatest examples of the differences was the Continental Congress. They were literally fist fights. They were screaming at each other about creating this nation. But that's what it was about free speech, and it's about the Constitution, and about your right to have any opinion you want. But unfortunately today, there are people who say you're not entitled to it if you don't have their opinion, and it's wrong.
Hey, I have the right to be a jerk, and that's the way it's going to be. So.
It's like, but let's, you know, and that's the problem, because they like to deflect. They make everything about something else. And like now, again, you know, what they did with whites is 100% wrong, but look what's happening in Fall River now. We go back and remember when it started a long time ago, when they denied there were gang issues. And
right.
There are serious gang problems in Fall River, and from what we've been told, there were 2 cars exchanging gunfire in the Flint.
Correct.
So, I mean, that's getting pretty bad when you know, we're getting like L.A. and New York City when you got people in cars having gunfights.
Well, what's interesting is I was sent a photo, which I'm sorry I can't put it on the air. I wish I could, from a viewer who turned around and said that shortly after the shooting, or a day after the bullets flew in broad daylight up the Flint, the neighborhood now has been hit with a blizzard of graffiti. And it says East Side, and it's got a little like fork type of deal on it. And it's appearing, I mean, they're painting on windows, they're painting on walls. You know, it's very interesting to see. But they're popping up, and that's gang graffiti. That says this is our territory. And, you know, we need to be aware of that, because if you're walking in the Flint, you now know that there's a potential of being in the crossfire.
Yeah.
But remember, we don't have any gangs in Fall River.
Yeah, there's no crime. Well, I mean, remember we said we were first. We told everybody that we were 96th in the country. We were in the top 100 of crime.
Now we're 18th.
And but I'll tell you, let's look at this realistically. The fact is, when they start marking territory, that's an indication that there's some other gangs around. So they're saying this is our turf, and those things lead to gang wars.
Exactly.
And this is what happened. Now you've got they're basically mocking their territory. It's like a dog lifting its leg.
I was going to say the same
mocking
thing.
its territory. And, you know, this is not a good sign. When you begin to get a lot of this graffiti, it has an underlying reason. They're mocking territory. It's a message to other gangs.
And it's a message to the people.
And what happens then? What's the next thing? A gang's going to begin to charge protection like they do in larger cities. We've seen that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, look, it's out of control. And, you know, it's time for the public to be informed on what's going to be done here. I think we talked months ago when we were having these issues about what are we doing about gang task forces? What are we going to, because obviously the larger cities like LA, New York City, they have a lot of experience with this. And so you're not reinventing the wheel, but, you know, the citizens have got to really be informed that there's something being done, and that this is a priority here, because we're going to wait till the bodies start dropping. It's really a situation where, you know, we're turning the city into a war zone, like New York City. I mean, look what happened on the subway. Did you see that horrific video of the subway?
Yes.
A young Thai, a girl from Thailand who'd come to the United States to be a model. She was only a little diminutive thing. Got viciously beat and sexually assaulted on a subway ramp.
Yeah.
You're not going to see that a lot. And of course, it was anti-Asian. They classified it as anti-Asian, but
Right.
the perpetrator was a black individual. They had a picture of him, but that's one of the reasons that a while ago we saw a lot of things about anti-Asian violence, but it disappeared from the news. The reason it disappeared from the news, in my opinion, and this is my opinion, is because they found that most of that was coming from like black on black crime.
Yep.
You know, they always complain about the disproportionate amount of people in jail, but that proportion is proportionate to the people who commit the crime. So the reality is, this individual, you can't bring that up. Just like the guy who ran down all those people with an SUV.
Right.
You don't see anything. If it was a white person, it would have been a white supremacist action. He must be a white supremacist. Even when white people shoot white people, like Rittenhouse, they call them white supremacists.
Right.
But the reality is, this was a heinous crime, and it doesn't matter about color. A full-grown man beat up, she looked like she weighed about 90 pounds soaking wet.
Looked like a little girl.
And they had a picture of her on the front of and she was all busted up and swelled up, her face. But that's just, it's reprehensible anyway. Men should never, ever take advantage of women. They're physically stronger, and it's just not right, and it's just terrible. Society's just degenerating before our eyes, and nothing seems to be getting done. And Fall River seems to be very quietly under the radar. You see, it's getting a little worse. We already know that 2 years ago we were the #1 city in crime in Massachusetts, #2 in New England. Now we make the top 100 in the country. What's going on? How come we don't know this? The citizens of Fall River, I really don't see a lot of play on this. They're kind of just keeping this under their hat.
Right.
And it's not right, at least in my opinion. We should know.
Look at it from the point of view of the administration. He was brought up in the school system. That's
Yep.
where he worked. What do? They hide everything. And that's my segue now.
There you go. There we go.
Because complaints are still being made on social media now about the doors being locked at Durfee.
Still, that was
Still,
months ago.
right, and it's still happening. And the school committee, the school department, the principal, the mayor, nobody wants to deal with it. Nobody wants to deal with it. And from what I've been told, even the fire department has washed their hands of it. And
I'm
they're
going to
saying,
tell you something. There's a major liability because cities have been sued when they didn't do the right thing, and especially there were fire departments in the United States that were sued for not doing their due diligence in enforcing the law. Remember, the fact is that when you become an officer and you get on a fire department, you're sworn to uphold the fire codes and the laws, and those are violations of the life safety codes. You can't be just locking people in. This is like the Triangle Factory fire when a whole bunch of people died and they chained the doors in the old days to keep them working in the mills. You can't do this stuff. You can't ignore it. And there's going to be liabilities here. I'm surprised. And people are, well, look, didn't we have that gun issue we talked about on the last show? Now, what's happened with that? You don't hear anything. Nope. We didn't hear that from them. We heard that from the general public.
Exactly.
And this is the problem. People have to be informed. The first thing they tell you when you learn self-defense or you teach self-defense, which I have, is you tell people they have to have situational awareness. And you can't have situational awareness if you're not informed. Now, obviously, if you're in a strange city, there are things you do, but you also got to investigate where the bad neighborhoods are, whatever, and things like that. Now, obviously, people are walking around oblivious to what's going on. If there's issues, people should know about them. Now you've got to be on your guard if you're in the Flint.
Right.
I mean, this happened it didn't happen when everybody was off the street. This happened at
Broad
during the
daylight.
day.
Yep,
Broad
broad
daylight.
daylight. Yep.
They're exchanging gunfire on a city street. I mean, this is crazy.
Yeah, well, and we're looking at the same things happening in Durfee, in the high school.
Yeah.
They've got the doors locked. According to students, they have to be escorted by a teacher or security personnel to get around the building. So if they have to go to the office, somebody has to go get them and walk them through to open the doors. That is a problem. That's a major problem to me. And if that is the case, the school department needs to do something about it immediately. And I said on social media, because parents were posting, I said, look, if your elected officials won't do anything, which they're not, including the mayor, because what the mayor's answer is going to be, I had no idea. I mean, he's on social media like everyone else, so he knows. If he's not doing anything about it, go to the media. Call Channel 6, call Channel 10, call Channel 12.
Yeah.
Let them know.
Go
And
to
let
the
them do
school
the
committee
investigation.
like they did in Virginia.
Right.
Right? Well, look what happened in Virginia. Go and because listen, we heard about that gun issue. Have we heard what happened? Did they find
Well,
anything?
actually, the only thing that did happen was they got 2 days now, 16th and 17th, yesterday and today.
Yeah.
So today they're also doing and
checking.
that's why you saw the cones and the
Yeah.
and
It
the
may
extra police
become a
cruisers.
regular thing. There were some schools in New York years ago that it was automatic. They always had to go through metal detectors.
And that's what I said when they built this school. Why didn't they put the metal detectors in right away? That would have made more sense.
Yeah, but you know why they didn't put that in. That would be recognizing that there was a problem, and
Right.
they don't like to recognize they have a problem. It's like an epiphany when something. Oh my Lord, I didn't realize this.
Right.
We don't realize it. Well, you're in charge. You're supposed to realize it, and they don't. Well,
No, and they never want to.
that's right. That's always the ostrich approach.
Exactly. Bury your head in the sand, it'll go away. And now for another one of the amazing resignations in the Paul Coogan administration.
Another resignation. Yes.
Effective December 31st, the Fall River Harbormaster has resigned. The reason behind the resignation is unknown, although there are many allegations.
There are many allegations. There's a big, giant cloud over that
Big,
resignation. There's
right,
a
big,
lot of
giant
buzz
cloud
in the
over it.
community. We're not gonna until we confirm it. But I'll tell you what, you don't have to go far to hear a whole lot of stuff.
That's
going
right.
on.
And again, remember, this is Paul's hand-chosen Harbormaster.
And I go back to my old Castilian saying, old adage, tell me who you walk with and I'll tell you who you are.
Exactly.
We have a lot of problems. We had Malone, the sexual predator that they covered for. And, we got a whole bunch of people that leave under less than, now let's see what happens. There's a lot out there, people. Go do your own homework. We're not gonna engage in the rumor mill right now. We have to check, and we are checking, believe me. We are looking.
There's no question
We're
about it.
looking to confirm some of these allegations.
Right, and I mean, it's very difficult to confirm some of these allegations, and you have to say, why all of a sudden is this man being a choice to resign? I know he was appointed as an interim. Don't get me wrong, I knew that. But interims don't usually resign; they get replaced.
Yeah. And not only that, it's probably he was upset because they won't let him use it as a party boat anymore. Wasn't he using it for a party boat?
Well,
And
we have pictures.
Did we forget about that one?
We have pictures of Pat Casey on it,
Pat Casey on the party boat.
and she's not a city councilor anymore.
Was that a booze cruise?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Exactly.
It could have been.
We don't know anything about that. I mean, and the Harbormaster has been very quiet, as you notice.
Ever since he got busted with those pictures.
with those pictures.
Yeah.
So,
it's been-
although the allegations are something else happened on board that boat. So,
well,
I'm not going to get
as
into
I
any
said,
further because
there's
we can't talk about
there's
it.
a lot of rumors flying around, but you
Right.
know how rumors are. But
Yep.
by the time we
get them,
it could have been aliens. They actually
Exactly.
they actually came down and took the boat over and did it. But listen, we're looking at the city, and the city seems to be in a total state of disarray. I mean, it looks like, and everything's under wraps. We have nothing, you never hear anything from this administration about, we're looking at some people, we have some candidates, and you remember the old days when they got candidates for different jobs? the people were told who the candidates were. You got a little synopsis of the backgrounds of the people, and you actually knew that there was a process in place. Now it's like a mystery. Everything is a mystery.
Well, yeah.
You know, we don't know. We have to guess.
Well,
is anybody doing anything about the gangs? Is anybody doing anything about replacing the police chief? Well, you know, we got an interim chief, and you got a fire chief, Mary Sahadi, all these other people.
City administrator,
and
now a harbor master.
like I said, hey, look, everybody's got to go to a class E. Let's get a ceremony. Let's get a city manager. Let the manager worry about everything. And because listen, they keep going back to it, and they keep telling you how much we need all this help. Let me just give you something to think about. Isn't it amazing that the more money we spend, the more people we get with giant salaries, because this is so difficult to deal with. Yet, when we had none of these positions, CFO, city administrator, because I was here when none of this stuff existed, and the city ran. And we ran a city that had a lot more employees. Isn't it amazing that we got all these high-paid chiefs for far fewer employees, and they're delivering far less service to the community? Think about that. Why do we need a CFO with a treasurer, with an auditor, and a city administrator to administer this city when you have a six-figure salary administering the police department, a six-figure salary administering the fire department, a six-figure salary running DCM, and you have all these people who are there to run their individual departments? And that's what happened in the old days. The mayor with a GED ran a city that had a 300-man police department, not a 200-man police department, a 300-man fire department, not a 200-man fire department, a DCM department that was 5 times as large as it is now. We did our own snow removal. We did our own trash pickup. We did all these services for the public without a CFO. But we need them now. You know why? Because everybody makes so much money. We need somebody to track their money so they can figure out what new jobs they can add and how much more money they can take out of your pocket. Think about that. Just think about it for a minute. Do we really need a fire chief and a police chief and everything else? What are they getting paid to do? They're getting paid to run their departments. It's called delegation. Cities do not need all this crap. They're created to give people big money jobs. And if you want a city administrator, like I said, get them. But you don't need a CFO.
And you don't need a mayor.
Doesn't the fire department make their own budget? The police department? Doesn't every department in the city create their own budget?
Yes. Yes.
So you're telling me we need a chief financial officer? That is crap, okay? It's crap. So Merry Christmas.
Merry Crapmas.
That's right. That's right. They should all get coal in their stocking for what they're going to do to us next year.
And we've been warned. And remember, Cliff Ponte sent me a message, hashtag I told you so.
He didn't send me that.
He posted it on one of my postings, which I thought was funny, because I posted it, hashtag Cougangate, hashtag Couganomics.
Well, hashtag you should have done more in your election. You should have got elected.
True. So, but it makes for an interesting time, and there's still more we can get into today, and it's a shame we don't have the time.
And it's a sad thing that at the end of the show, we're going to have to add to stay angry, stay safe.
Yeah, we're going to have to. That's true. So I want to thank you all for watching. I want you to have a wonderful weekend. Remember, hold your politicians accountable, stay angry, and stay safe. Thanks for watching, and have a wonderful weekend. See you on Monday.